figured let's get this Monday started. Let's get the Monday started. How are you? I don't know if my microphone's working or not. Sounds like it's not, but I hope you can hear me. Grab your coffee. Grab your coffee. It is early, 8 o'clock. Maybe you've already been up and out the door. Let me see if I can check my settings on this thing. How are you, though, this morning? How'd your Sunday end up? I didn't make it over to my kid's house because my ex-husband was over there doing some plumbing work. If you know, you know. That's not his trade. The oldest can't move into his house yet until he gets some electrical stuff done, and he has somebody else doing that. You know, what a racket. You spend all this money on your house. You buy it, you put the money down, you pay for closing, you do all these inspections, and then when something is found, you have to pay more to get the stuff done and then have to have it re-inspected. There's something so not right with that whole program. I'm gonna see if I can adjust this microphone, because I don't know, sometimes I think I have OCD or ADHD or something. Hang on, let me figure this out. I ran over, though, and took back my Amazon stuff. That was an easy experience. All right, let's... All right, that's all right. Let's do this. Let's do levels. Yeah? Yeah? Testing, testing, testing. There we go. Testing. Let's try that. Okay. Anyway, so I took back my Amazon stuff yesterday. That was such an easy process. Now, I could have taken it to Kohl's and then gotten a Kohl's reward, but I don't shop at Kohl's. So I just ran it over to the Up store. I told the kid this morning, because he was up early too, the youngest who lives still at home. I said, what a job that would be, because he's looking for other jobs. You know, he works at a pizza place at night and does maintenance construction during the day. And I said, that would be a really good job. It's part of the post office. I think it pays really well. I think the hours are decent. But I think it went kind of over his head. We were having a couple different conversations this morning. Him and I were trying to figure out who was sleepwalking. Because I got up this morning really early. It was still dark out. And I let my hound out. She always goes out first. I let her out on her own before I let the girls all out, because they're constantly bothering her. And when she's sleeping and when I let her out in the morning, she's by herself. She needs that time by herself. She's getting to be an old girl. She's going to be 7, I think. But anyway, I let her out. I come around the corner to let the girls out, and the girls weren't there, and their gate was wide open. And I'm like, did I do that in my sleep? Did I do it and not remember that I did it? And then Frances was out, you know, she's barking in her crate like a crazy dog. So I let her out and I go outside, and the girls were outside. I mean, my heart dropped. I love these little pitties. They're kind of a nuisance sometimes, but I love these pitties. That bougie girl, she is my girl. And I know Bruceum, my boxer who died several years ago, I know Bruce sent bougie girl, Hank, to me. And the only reason she's named Hank is because I thought I had a male dog. I had gotten them when they were so little. They barely weighed 2.5 pounds. And I thought I had a male and a female. And when I took them to the vet to get all their shots and to make sure that they were okay, I found out I had 2 girls. Well, by the time I took them to the vet, she already knew her name, and I wasn't going to change it. So when I'm angry at her, I call her Hank, Hankster, and then other than that, she's my bougie girl, or my pity. That's what I tell her. You're my pity. But anyway, yesterday, it just got to be too hot, and I did not do all the running around that I needed to do, and couldn't go over to the kids' house, and I scrolled on my phone, and that got on my last nerve. I had made fried eggplant for dinner last night, and it was my dinner. Ate another one of my cupcakes, and then I was in bed by 8:30. And so this morning when I got up, I was like, okay, I can't let the grass grow under my feet, so what am I going to do? So while I'm waiting for this job to place me somewhere, because I have no patience, I went and applied for 2 more positions with somebody else just to see who's going to call first. It's not who are you going to call, it's who's going to call first. Because there is a lifestyle I'm trying to live. There's a lifestyle I'm trying to live. There's a place I am trying to get to. And as I see this plan and this dream and this vision in my head, and I see how the last 8 years, and I don't want to say failed me, but I have looked at these last 8 years, and what I have wanted, somebody else did not want. And instead of making a plan to try to rectify one situation, to get on board on the same page, to be at the same place, getting to another platform, a discussion was never had. And it was easier for one person to bail instead of talking about what was not going to happen and what could possibly happen. But at this point in my life, it's no more it could happen. It has to be, it is going to happen. And it needs to be made a way so it all comes about. And I won't use the word manifest because sometimes manifest is too woo-woo. But your words are spells. The universe does hear. And your higher power, your God, knows what's in your heart. Your higher power, your God, knows what you're trying to do with your life. And he will rearrange your life. And I won't get all spiritual and all religious on you, but you have to have a pure intent. You have to have pure intentions with the goal in which you are trying to achieve. And when you keep working at it and working at it, it has no other way but to show up in your life, on your timeline. And you know what? Daylight's burning. We're not getting any younger. As much as, I always talk about image and personality and taking care of myself, at some point, the inevitable is going to be the inevitable. So with the time that you have left, what are you going to do to get to the lifestyle that you were wanting to live? What is the dream house that you see in your mind? Drinking out of the other coffee cup still. What's the dream house? What does it look like? I've had several different visions in my head in the kind of house I want to live in. And I can pretty much turn anything into something, provided my heart feels like I'm safe, this is home, and I love my surroundings. This particular house, I'm grateful I have it. I'm appreciative that it is mine, basically, other than the mortgage company who owns it. And the county taxes I have to pay on it, which I don't understand that process either. Why? If I already put all this money into it, why do I need to keep paying taxes on it? Save that conversation for a whole other day. But this house it's been a place where I come home to, where I lay my head down at night, where I prepare some fabulous meal. But it is not my dream house. Was supposed to be the house for the time being. And that house for the time being was only supposed to be 5 years, and now I'm going into 21 years in the shoebox that no longer fits. So if we are talking about the dream house, what does the dream house look like? You know, are you living in the city? Are you living in the county? Are you living by water? Are you living by mountains? You all know I want to get to Tennessee and stay there. I don't want to be anywhere really outside of that. 6 hours from the oceans, and you look out your back door and the mountains are there. The peace, the calm, the serenity that comes with the environment that makes you want to live life and participate in things that are out there. Because how many of you have isolated yourself? How many of you have chosen not to even partake in anything in life because life has not worked to your advantage for whatever reason, whether it be your own fault or somebody else's fault? So, where do you want to live? What's the atmosphere look like? What is the surroundings? What is going to make you feel like you are home? Now, I can describe 2 different houses to you in different areas. My sister lives in a very small town in Wisconsin. It is a college town. It is an agricultural mining town. She lives in one of the original farmhouses. She's got a huge wraparound porch. It is a 2-story. It is your basic farmhouse. You walk through the door, there's a living room, which would be living room, dining room, a small dinette kitchen. She has a room addition on the back, and then the upstairs is bedrooms. Very small, but very well maintained and structured for the town that she lives in. Now, there are modern homes in that area also, but the ideal setup, that porch. If she didn't have the porch, it would take away from the farmhouse, but it's a beautiful little house. And although I have not been there in several years, that area does call to me, other than the fact I don't do winters anymore. I can hardly do summers anymore. So I'm like, where am I going to go where it is going to be even-keeled weather? And then if the weather does change per season, it's only for a short season. Tennessee. But that's one house. Ideal. My friend, who's a nurse, who lives in Hillsboro, here in Missouri. She lives on 2 acres. She's right by a creek, which oftentimes floods. Pull over a little bridge over the creek, you go up a hill, and there is her house on her 2 acres. It is a prefab house that I'm thinking was probably built in the 70s. Cute little house, and she just had a permanent porch structure added on, I believe, with the pergola. I'll have to go back and look at her pictures. It's the perfect setting. She has a garage that is on the opposite side of her house that I believe at one time they worked on cars in there, because it is a tall ceiling. I mean, it's long. Is that the right word? No, not long. The height is tall. And it has rafters, like they could have had a hoist for engines to pull out, or whatever they do with cars. I don't know. I'm not a car person. But anyway, I always think that garage would be perfect if you had a horse and you turned it into a small barn or a stall. It'd be perfect for an outbuilding to be able to teach. You would have to, shear up the walls. You would have to insulate. You would have to probably put in 1 or 2 windows. But the garage in it, I believe it has a pull-up door. It's a 2-bedroom, huge bathroom on the master bedroom. It has an outside patio with a privacy fence, because she does have a dog, but although her dog doesn't go anywhere. And then she has a small porch off of her living room, which I believe they added that porch on, and it has a concrete pad for an RV. Again, it's a beautiful little setup. There's nothing fancy about either one of these two houses other than it feels like home and it says home. So if I am dreaming about the kind of house that I would like to live on, I'm drawn to split levels. And I really don't know why, because you lose a lot of space with a split level. But in my brain and in my creative mind, I always mostly thought if I had a split level. You'd walk through the front door, you go up the steps, of course, and then there were steps that took you down to the lower level. And you could always close off that lower level if you needed to be. But oftentimes there was a fireplace in that lower level, and you'd want to leave all of that open because, of course, heat rises. That's kind of common sense. Your lower level would be your family room where you'd put your TV. Maybe you would have a bar, a place when you had people over that would congregate down there. You would have a refrigerator. The Italian in me, I'm looking to have a kitchen in my lower level for many different reasons. A small kitchenette, a laundry room, and of course there would have to be sliding doors to get outside for the dogs. Or, you have a little patio. My aunt and uncle, who also lived in my area, they're both gone. The house has been sold. It was ideal. Their backyard was 3 times the size of my backyard, and I have a relatively big backyard. My backyard is bigger than my house that I'm currently living in. I could do a room addition with a big porch on the back, and I'd still have backyard. They had the perfect setup. Go down the basement, it was a huge lower level. They didn't have a fireplace, but that's where we had all our holiday parties. That's where we had all our gatherings. That's where we would always have what my grandma called our doings. But then with a split level, you go upstairs, you have a kitchen, you have your, regular living room. You have a patio door that goes out to a deck. You go down the hall, there's a bathroom, and there's 3 bedrooms. That is what I saw. Now, with the split level that I see, in my mind, you go up the top steps and it opens into one great big room with a island that faces out the front window, and you can look down the front steps. It's usually 2 doors. You can leave both doors open, or one door opens and the other one is stationary, and 2 glass doors for the outside. Now, another person that I know that lives, I believe, at Lake Tamarack, you can look out her front door and you see the lake. Her layout is absolutely perfect. Her patio that she has is always what I kind of think of as a ship deck. And I don't know why I think that. It's like it's very square, and then it has railings like you would see on a ship. I guess that's why I think of it like that. But she can't have fencing. I would have to have fencing in my yard. Be perfect setup for content creating, to have that kind of an island. Also, with having 3 bedrooms, one being at home, I would take the bigger bedroom, and then that other one would be turned into an office. I need office space. I love that I have this little setup here, but I need my own designated room, my own little studio, a place where I could set up my Cricut machine with my laptop, do my, what I call my podcasting system with my laptop, where I could actually work and go somewhere as if I'm going into a place to work, instead of I wake up in the morning and everything is just right here. That is what I see in my mind. You know, I see being on a couple of acres. I see being on water. I see having that outbuilding for when I go to teach. I have a place that I can teach where I could sell merchandise and create that little pop-up farm stand. That is the ultimate goal in which I've been trying to get to for the last, since 2013, when all the challenges and all the struggles all came about, and coming up against people who could not see a vision bigger than the concrete jungle that they feel they need to stay in. So, you know, I'm going to ask you a few questions. I got it up on my computer because I was writing some stuff out this morning. What does your morning look like in your lifestyle? What does your morning look like? You know, are you rushing to work, or do you want to work from home? Do you want to go into an environment that is ruining who you are, making you become something that you're not? You know, or do you want to sit on your porch in the morning, maybe before you go to work? Do you want to sit out on your deck and you want to look out? I was watching the deer in my field this morning when I was looking for the pitties. I'm like, oh my God, where are my dogs? How did they get outside? And I go outside and there they are. All the dogs were looking at the deer in the back field. If there was a large wraparound deck on the back, that would be very conducive to this house. But in your home, in your dream environment, what are you doing? Are you sitting on the porch in the morning before you go to work? Are you pulling out your laptop looking to see what your day is going to entail? Who's around you? Who lives with you? Who's coming with you to your dream home and in the new environment in which you want to live? Here's something else I always thought, and I'll continue with this. You never know. Fate does turn on a dime. Your higher power, your God, can turn that page at any moment. Your life can either turn upside down or it can turn upside right. In one flip of something, life changes that quick. I always thought if I would become independently, I won't say wealthy, but independently with income readily available, I always thought maybe I'd buy a summer home up by where my sister is. My sister can be rather needy, and I won't go into those details. But I always thought if I lived across town from her, and I lived more in the farmland. I did see a house up there on the other side of her town in a farmland, had a built-in pool. It's just a basic kind of ranch style, but it was on like 7-8 acres. I could very easily rent out those acres to farmers. Could very easily, it had a barn, had a beautiful kitchen in it. I always thought I could buy a summer home where my sister is. I could do what I would need to do in the spring and in the summer up there, because in small towns they need people like me. They need people who are creative, who can generate an income based on people needing to have hobbies and needing to learn how to do something different. I always thought with being in that town with my sister and the farmland, it would give her a sense of having family, because it is really just her and I and my cousin Stephanie. I thought I could travel with my dogs and I would set up there, and when I had my horse, I could bring my horse. And then when the weather got too bad, I'd lock it up. She could keep an eye on it. I'd come back to here and I would continue with the lifestyle here. The writing, the teaching, the creating, the selling the merchandise. But that did not happen, or yet has it to happen. So, who are you surrounded by? Your family? Your friends? How many animals do you have? I have 4 dogs. I have 3 cats. I have a herd of deer out there. I have a snake that wants to live in my backyard, which I don't appreciate him. I got a possum I feed in my front yard, and there is a plethora of squirrels that drive my dogs crazy. I want a horse again. I want a couple of horses. I still would like to have a llama. I want a camel. I need some donkeys. I swear to God, I'm going to get a donkey and I'm going to name it Steve after my ex-husband. I promise you I'm going to do that. What about the community that you want to live in? What about the people you want to surround yourself with? I live right at the city-county line. I love my neighbors 2 doors down. I went and found Andy yesterday to fix my phone. He said, "You're fine, you're good. I don't know what is happening with your phone, but you're good." And I'm like, thank God. Having that to add to the list was not one thing I wanted to do. The girls on the other side, I barely hear them. The quietness of the neighborhood is fine. It is the surrounding community I no longer want to be a part of. I just don't. I don't align. I don't belong. It's too cosmopolitan, it's too metropolitan, and it is way too diverse for my taste. I don't care what you do. I don't care how you do it. I just don't want it all thrown in my face. It is too much for this old person to have to tolerate. So, in your community, are you happy with the people that surround you? Could you live by yourself? Could you live with no neighbors next to you? Absolutely, 100%. I don't want neighbors next to me. I'd be more than happy with seeing somebody down the block in their home, and I would have to get binoculars. But could you live like that? Could you live with no neighbors? Could you live rural? Did you know that there are loans out there? Farm rural loans. These type entities are begging for people to take advantage of because they want to build on this land before all the government, all the data centers, and all the other people outside of this country. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. Farm USD loans, maybe. I'll have to look that up, and I'll come back the next time and tell you all that. And then what are you doing in this dream life, this lifestyle that you were wanting to create? What are you wanting to do? Are you working? We all need to earn an income. That's a given. In order to survive in this world, one way or another, we need to survive with some form of income, unless everything goes to hell and we go back to a bartering system, which sometimes I don't think that would be too bad. Are you creating? What are you creating in this environment, in this lifestyle, in this home-based land that you were living in? I always thought with my person, we'd be farming. He'd be running some tractor, digging something up for plumbing and water and fountains, and then that would be what he would be doing for an income for other people. Because when you have a skill and you are good at it, you can take that skill anywhere. Teaching. I'd be teaching on our property, on our land, on our home base. What are you doing in that lifestyle, in that environment, in that home, that piece of property that you are owning? What are you doing? What are you doing on it? What are you making it work for you? The land works for you. You don't work for the land. Maybe you want to travel. I talked about Sherpa. the photography site where they pay photographers to come to an area, do all the photography, give it to them. They pay you. They provide mostly the lodging. Are you traveling? Can you open that home space, that lifestyle? Can you create an Airbnb? Remember, I business coach, so I give ideas to people who have the opportunities to make these things come to life. You know, it goes back to, are you gardening? What are you doing with your backyard? You know, my backyard, I don't know dimensions. It's big. Like I said, I could do a full room addition with a wrap-around back deck, and I'd still have backyard. I took basically the middle of my yard and turned it into a garden. What are you doing with yours? Now, of course, wherever I'd go, it would be wonderful if I had a pool, although I'm pretty happy with my little horse trough that I have out there, a water feature. And my one friend who does have a built-in pool, when I always talk about my water feature, because I have a fountain, one of those solar things in my little pool, my galvanized pool, she laughs. She goes, "You and your water feature." Well, I can't have a built-in pool here. But would you have a water feature? You know, would you have, I always thought it'd be fun to have a lap pool. I don't need anything big. Just let me get in it with a raft, something I can sit a drink in, something my dogs can run around in. Only my hound likes water. The pitties don't like water at all. Frances, you can give her a bath, but not the pitties, not the sisters, absolutely not. But would you have water? Being on a lake, being a creek. There was a place we were traveling in, and I just came across these pictures. We were in, I want to say Helen, Georgia, which isn't all that big. One big mountain, you go over the side, you're done. But we came across this small little RV kind of park. And I don't know how people get these RVs in and up the mountains and down. But anyway, it had a beautiful creek that ran through it. And it had a watermill. And maybe it was just a decoration. Had a little bridge. It was the cutest thing. Cutest little thing. But if you have water, do you know how that brings peace to who you are? Just to be able to stick your feet in the water when it's hot outside. So, do you have a water feature? Would you want that in your lifestyle with having a pool? Would that be too much maintenance? For years, I had an above-ground pool, and I never could get the balance right, and I would have to have my oldest, who was a lifeguard, who did that to check the chemicals and everything. I'd have to have him come over to check it. And I had all the little apparatus kits and things that told you what the pH balance, and I never, ever, ever could get it right. Is having a water feature too much maintenance for you? These are things in this lifestyle that you are trying to achieve and trying to get to. What is it about the lifestyle? Okay, and then here's the big thing. How are you earning your money for your lifestyle? Because it's important. Your income supports the life that you're trying to live. And the life that you are trying to live, is it revolving around how much money you are actually earning? You know, are you earning money and then trying to piecemeal? Or do you already have the lifestyle set up and you are just continuing to build an empire? Because that's what I call what I'm doing, building an empire. Whether it makes sense to anybody else, it's the multitasking and the multi-streams, because when one income is down, the other income is up. And you have several different things that you can fall back on in order to survive in this ridiculous life that we are living. And when you have those multiple streams, it just makes life work so much easier, especially when you know you don't have a big Social Security, there is no pension, and there is no 401k. With this lifestyle, how are you feeling when you wake up? Are you dreading it? I'll tell you what, when I was at the restaurant, this last restaurant, when I was getting up in the morning to go to it, every bit of getting done, it was draining. I dreaded it. I'd pull into that parking lot and I would almost get sick. That dreadful feeling of, I don't want to go in here. I no longer want to do this. Going in, there were people I liked. It was not that at all. It was a broken structure that no longer worked for me, and I was no longer earning money in the capacity that I needed to earn my money. So look at your own life. When you get up in the morning, when you do your morning routine, whatever your morning routine is, how are you feeling when you were going to work? Do you do it just out of spite because you have nothing else going for you in your life? And if you do not have that job, there is nothing attached to you. You know, what I was going to say something. When you walk through those doors, how does it make you feel? Are you glad to be there? Are you happy to be there? Are you fulfilled? And do you feel like you have purpose within that job that you are going to? And can you imagine if you had the job that aligned with the lifestyle that you were trying to live, how you wouldn't wait to get up in the morning. And when your feet hit the ground, you couldn't wait to start the day. Right now, although in between jobs, stretching 6 cents, it started out at 15 cents, I'm down to 6 cents, stretching 6 cents. When my feet hit the ground in the morning, I have nothing but opportunity and possibilities in front of me. There is no dread. There's a little concern what I'm going to do for money coming in to pay the things that I need to be responsible for. But I know I have things in the works. And I know the things that I have in the works are going to align with me better to get to the lifestyle. Are you saying that? Or are you just looking at your life like this is it? I made my bed, I'm going to sleep in it until the day that I'm no longer on this earth. And if that is you, how sad, how tragic. Life is miserable enough. Why do you want to continue in your lifestyle when you know it's not working for you? And in order to change and in order to create a new life and way of living, all it takes is just that one action to do something different, to get you on another path, to build and create the dream life that you're looking for. It's easier than you think, but most people have so many blocks and obstacles in their head, they can't see past the tunnel vision that they're in. The dream isn't necessarily the thing you want. The dream is the life that you are needing to experience. And that was something when my person and I were traveling, I would always tell him, you are a completely different human when we are out of St. Louis. He comes to life. He had visions. He had happiness and joy. And there wasn't dread and anger that associated to the life that he was living here in St. Louis. And I'd be popping out ideas. We could live here, you could do this, I could do this. One, when you're in food and beverage, you can do anything anywhere. The entity in the building changes, but the structure basically all is the same. You can always make $1 when you're in food and beverage, one way or another. And again, it goes back to when you have a skill and a trade, you can take that skill and that trade anywhere. Why would you want to limit yourself to one thing in one place in an environment that is detrimental to who you are? And he would always say, yeah, but everybody's happy when they're on vacation. No, what is happening is you are experiencing life in a whole other environment, and you are refusing to recognize the possibility of what is on the other side of the misery that you live. So, That dream, again, isn't necessarily the thing you want, but it's a powerful statement. It's a powerful meaning. It's a powerful entity. It's not you want $1 million, but okay, what happens when the $1 million happen to work for you? You don't work for money, you allow the money to work for you. And when I talk about stretching 15 cents, 12 cents, 10 cents, 8 cents, 6 cents, I am still allowing my money to work for me. I have it. I have the money. No matter what the amount is, I have the money. And that's the way you need to approach whatever it is you have in your bank account, your wallet, your back pocket, stashed somewhere in your home, in your vehicle, in the wheel hubs of your car. And that's a whole other story I'll talk about another time. But anyway, what does it give you? Does it give you security? Does it give you freedom? Does it give you time? Does it give you the ability to travel? Your house, your home life. Is it going to give you the opportunity to help your children? When I was trying to win this last lottery, I still need to go check these. And I know one person won this last $1 billion. That kind of responsibility that comes with when you win that kind of dollars. You have to stop and think, first of all, what kind of a human are you? And what is the responsibility that comes with having that kind of money? I wanted to be able to pay my daughter's school loans off. I wanted to be able to pay their house off for my son-in-law so he doesn't have to work so hard. I wanted to be able to put money aside so any of my 4 grandkids can go to college on grandma. Free money. I wanted to be able to do that for them and then give them money. My son, the oldest, who just bought this house, I just wanted to hand him, here, pay the house off. Buy what you need. Because I know he is now going to be in that house for the next 30 years. You would have to know my oldest. Feet in concrete, structure. He is a dreamer like me, but the house that he bought, I said to my youngest this morning, my God, that house would have been perfect for him and I and whomever and all of our animals, although it's in the county and I want out of this area. But for the youngest, do all the repairs that I want to do for this house, the things that I see and envision. Get that front porch fixed, get that back porch fixed, do that wraparound deck, do that room addition, widen the driveway, fix the HVAC system, get a new roof, finish the bathroom in the basement. All little things when the bigger scheme of life, and then just hand the house over to my youngest. It was almost like when I was planning, if I was to win the lottery, other than the actual vision that I saw for this house or the things that I see, I thought about my kids first. I thought about my kids. My needs almost came secondary to what I wanted to do for them, the bigger picture. To be able to send my sister a big chunk of money at the end of the year so she wouldn't have to worry about her taxes or any of her needs. Or the same for my cousin, be able to actually go and buy her a house that she could live in where she wouldn't have to worry about the job that she had and getting older and maybe not feeling good, taking that stress off of people because we are under so much stress in this life, and it creates this block and this brick wall where we can't see past what the struggles are. I saw a meme yesterday that I totally understood. And it said, I wish you to heal enough that you can redecorate your home again and find joy in the hobbies that you once did. I understand that. I totally understand that. When you are so bogged down with stress and the responsibilities from circumstances that are no longer yours to bear, you lose sight of who you are and what you want to achieve and what you want to become and what you are capable of doing. Those blocks, those obstacles, they're forefront, and you can't get past it because that's all you see. And by winning that money, I just kept thinking, I could remove all of those blocks. I could remove all of those obstacles for other people. And then once that was all done and trusts were all set up and, wills and whatever else beneficiary deeds that come with being a responsible, independent, wealthy person, then it was like, then I will go and I will buy the dream house, the lifestyle that I am trying to live. But in the meantime, I'm just working and I'm sticking to my goal and I am staying true to the picture that I see. There is a bigger picture, but you have to get out of the picture that you're currently in order to get to that new place. I do. I see the vision very clearly. I see the land. I see the house. I see the outbuilding. I see my art. I see my garden. I see teaching outside. I see my animals. I see people coming and going. I see myself making a living from several things and enjoying the fruits of my labor. If you build it, they do come. They do. People might think you're crazy. People might not understand the life that you were trying to build or live, but you have to stop and think right now with what you have and where you are and what you're willing to work with. What is the lifestyle? What is the income? Who's versing what? And if you are, and I don't mean to be pointing, it's a teacher thing, but if you are sitting on an income, if you are sitting with money in the bank and you're not doing anything to make that money work from you, you can't take it with you. You can buy all the stocks, you can buy all the money markets, you can hoard it away in a drawer, under your mattress, in a brick in a wall. You can't take it with you. So why are you not taking what you have, making it stretch if need be, and making that money work for you in an environment where you have created the lifestyle that you want to live, that you are entitled to live? And I don't use that word entitled very often. We're entitled to breathe. We're entitled to be happy. We're entitled to be healthy. We are entitled to be educated. We are entitled to be inspired. We are entitled to be entertained. And if that's all I'm doing right now is entertaining you, then I've done my job. I've done my job. But that is the lifestyle that I'm trying to get to. And it is the lifestyle that I'm trying to create. Close your eyes. I'm looking at my cheat sheets. Close your eyes. Forget about the life that you're currently living, but think about the life that you're supposed to be living. Forget about whatever anybody else thinks. Forget about how your success looks to somebody else, because you can look around to the people that you're surrounded with every day and you can see how their life is showing up on their body, in their face, in their mannerisms, in the way that they speak. You can hear the anger. You can hear the distrust. You can hear the diversity, and you can see what doesn't align with who you are anymore. So what are you going to do about it? Is it income versus lifestyle? Is it lifestyle versus income? And what are you willing to do to change your circumstances to live the life that you need to live for your higher purpose? And those are all things that I teach, and those are all things that I talk about. But I am Kitryn Marie. I am an artist, a writer, speaker, life, and a business coach, reside in St. Louis, Missouri. I have a line of merchandise. Go over to kitryn-marie.printify.me to see all of my work, go to kitryn-marie.weebly.com. If you're interested in any of my classes, inquire at kitrynmarie@gmail.com. For a painting class, it is a group class, minimum 11, $48 a person. I provide all the supplies. Vision board class, based in life coaching. It is a cut and paste art project. We talk about you being a product of your environment, your circumstances. We talk about a plethora of things, all based in life coaching, so you can understand the missing puzzle pieces in your life. It is $65. We can do it in a group. We can do it in a private class. You want to start a side hustle, get yourself out of 9 to 5. We talk about your skills, your talents, your hobbies, and how you can monetize them. We talk about how you can go live, how you can create a portfolio. We talk about how to start a business plan, if you need to open an LLC, or if you want to do sole proprietor. That class is $95. It is a class, it is not a course. Take what you need, leave what you don't want in your business plan. Or maybe you want to learn to write a book, the who, the what, the where, the how, taking your characters that you've had in your mind for a million years and you want to get it on paper. Where's my book? That class is $65. It can be a private class, it can be a group class. I would imagine you would want it to be a private class. I'm a published author. When He Had Her, it's available on Amazon. The book is $15.99. It's an easy read. It's a light psych thriller based in narcissism and seeing what's on the other side. It's a good book. I was told it would make a great movie for Lifetime. Who knew? Who knew? All these things that are inside this girl who spent a lifetime in food and beverage. If you don't break out of what you currently know, you never get to see what's on the other side of what I want to call make-believe. For today, for tomorrow, be happy, be blessed, be thankful for everything. Remember, fate turns on a dime, and it is up to you to decide what side of that coin you want to be on. Enjoy your day. You know, when your feet hit the ground in the morning, are you running to or running from? Y'all take care, and I'll see you real soon. Bye.